You know, I'm just sitting around the house here tonight doing some more research, reading, just trying to keep up on everything that's happening around, well, the world today, and specifically here in our country, and more specifically here in Alberta. And I can't let this one go. I've talked about it, I've mentioned it a couple days ago, and it comes back to, I believe it was Jason Kenney. I'm not going to say it was him for sure, but definitely it was one of our Alberta politicians saying that if they get elected, one of their first priorities, they're going to scrap the carbon tax. You know, that's just what we want to hear. I'm sure everybody wants to hear we're going to get rid of that carbon tax. My question is, what are we going to do when Ottawa imposes their cap and trade tax? They've made it very, very clear. As a matter of fact, they've issued an ultimatum to the premiers earlier, or in the later part of last year, saying they must adopt the carbon tax or cap and trade plan, or Ottawa's going to do it for us. So we get rid of one, and the federal government brings in another. How do we win? We can't. We have one alternative, and I think we all know what that is. Ottawa is going to impose a minimum carbon or cap and trade price on all the provinces that are unwilling to adopt their own system. It's been said many times, it can be found, it can be searched out. That's their social agenda these days. Climate change. The hoax that we all know as climate change. But why do we not hear this from Alberta, from our own politicians? Why? Because they want to get elected. They want to pass along the things you want to hear so they get your vote. Once they're in, it's very easy to turn around and say, well, we can't do anything about this. We can't do anything about that. But you know what? Yes, we can. We have a choice. You have a choice. And we're asking you to make that choice. We need people to get up, rise up, and say they've had enough. We need support from every Albertan, and we need it fast. We're running out of time. Time is not on our side. We have an election coming up in just a couple more years. Best case scenario is, at the rate we're going, we're able to go to Elections Alberta, form a government, or form an official party within the next, let's say, 6 months. We still need time for infrastructure. We're running out of time. You cannot sit and think this is going to get better when everything you see around you is telling you different. At some point, you have to start thinking with your head and not with logic. Canada died and is continuing to die. We have one choice to save our way of life, our culture, our future children, and our future generations. And that is for Alberta to go alone, become an independent nation of its own, and fend for itself. We can always go back, trade freely with what's left of Canada, but to be under the rule of Ottawa, taxed unfairly. One more thing I'll say that I just about forgot to mention. Not many people realize in this cap and trade tax that Ontario is almost exempt. Now, isn't that coincidental? If you'd seen my earlier video, special treatment. We're forgotten about out here, people. And if you don't wake up and don't start doing something about it, then you might as well just throw it in, and that's it. I don't know what else to say, but there will be a link following this where you can visit the Western Independent Party of Alberta webpage. There will be a link there for you to follow. Please follow that link. Sign our form for support. Get friends to sign. Do whatever you've got. It takes less than a minute to do this, and it's life-changing. So thank you. Have a great Easter.